Hello guys, welcome to our first Hibernate tutorial. In this video, we will have an introduction to Hibernate. Now, what is Hibernate? Hibernate is an open source framework which is widely used in enterprise applications. Hibernate is licensed under Lesser General Public License, which is LGPL. It's free to download and use. Prerequisites to learn Hibernate. It is recommended we must have a good understanding of Jdbc technology, and also we must have knowledge of any one of RDBMS database, for example like MySQL, H2 database or Oracle or etc. So I prefer H2 database. So any one of these database will be helpful to understand what actually is Hibernate with Jdbc technology. It's not that you must have the knowledge of any database, but also you must have great understanding of Jdbc because all Hibernate queries are internally executed with Jdbc technologies. So before going in detail, we must understand why Hibernate has efficient features comparing with Jdbc and what are the advantages and disadvantages of Jdbc. So of course, when we're trying to switch to Hibernate, we must also know what are the pros and cons of Jdbc so that what are the more great features in Hibernate will be understood when we are having some disadvantages look of Jdbc. Now, of course, Jdbc works great and smooth in executing queries, SQL queries, but when you're processing some heavy complex data, it could be a little bit more complex in executing heavy queries. And because SQL doesn't have any, sorry, JDBC doesn't have any cache storage, so that this kind of problems may appear when you have could not be complex for heavy processing projects. So can handle large amount of data. Naturally, JDBC depends upon our uh, JDBC database storage can handle large amount of data, but large programming overhead when it's having more than large, so that could create a little bit problem. Well, when it comes to small applications, JDBC technology is really a great one to choose. For example, like J2SC applications, which are also said as like desktop applications, embedded applications, something like that. So JDBC doesn't support encapsulation because JDBC is something like you'll try to submit data to table and retrieve data from table, but encapsulation is something like it's part of AJB, so like creating setters and getters, which we retrieve the data using the object references, so it's not possible with JDBC, right? Of course, JDBC is easy to learn, but it is hard to implement MVC concept. So to overcome these all problems, so Hibernate comes into the picture. Now, what is ORM? ORM stands for Object Relational Mapping. If you consider any RDBMS, the data in it will represent in a tabular form, whereas object-oriented languages like Java and C# represents in objects. Just imagine we are creating a project using JDBC with a RDBMS database structure. In this process, we will go with any one specific database like Oracle, MySQL, etc. Whatever you choose to create, develop your application. So, but later, due to some database compatibilities, we may change the database, right? So, when we are trying to, I just said, just imagine when you are creating a project using JDBC technology with some RDBMS project, suddenly you just want to switch to some other database or modify the table. In this case, this might be a little bit uh, complicated, that if you're trying to switch to some other database, you must rewrite all the queries, and if not, if you're trying to modify the table, you must rewrite the table, you must modify the columns, all these things happen. So this kind of problems we can overcome with Hibernate. Where in Hibernate you no need to depend on any specific database, because Hibernate takes care of all the databases. Only a few single line of mappings used to be done in XML of the config XML that we'll discuss in the later video. Hibernate has its own HQL language, right? So it's not SQL, but it's part of object-oriented version of SQL, like said, which takes care of molding itself with any database, even if you change to another database at project development time. What I mean to say here is that, just think, you are trying to develop your project with Oracle, and suddenly you want to, due to some database compatibilities, you're trying to change it to MySQL. So there are some constant functions in Oracle which are not same as in MySQL. So you must rewrite all the queries. But where you compare with Hibernate, we are directly saying that you don't need to depend on any specific database. Hibernate has its own HQL, object-oriented version of SQL, which takes care of molding itself with any database, even if you change to another database at project development time. So even if you are in the project between, you can directly switch to another Jdbc by just passing a few 2-3 lines of code in XML, so that it takes care of all the query writings internally. Now, what actually are the advantages of Hibernate in Java project? Well, like said in the first place, Hibernate is free to use under LGPL license, and it's free to download and use. CRUD operations. CRUD operation is nothing but create, update, read. What does read? Select operations. Read means select operations. So Hibernate takes care of all CRUD operations, are very smooth comparing with JDBC in Hibernate. Once we map the Java objects with Hibernate, table creation is automatic and update, select, delete are so easy with few lines of code writing. Almost 80% of code writing is reduced comparing with the regular JDBC operations in query writing. Yeah, this might seem a little bit crazy, but sure guys, you believe me, it's going to be great when you learn Hibernate, and I'm going to share you all my interests, my works with you guys, to make the same excitement how these all operations are going to be so easy. Now, another thing is fast performance cache. What is meant by cache? A cache is a kind of storage where you do some regular operations. Like, just imagine you are using a browser and you're trying to open some website which is having a huge amount of data. Just think, you're trying to browse some page, say Google page, some xyz Google page.com. It might take like 500 500 to 100 500 kb to 1 MB. The file size could be so much, and it could take at least 1 minute to load. So what the cache of the Firefox browser does is that it stores the data temporarily in a place, so that when you request for the same website, it loads so fast. The same thing happens in the Hibernate too. When you're trying to do some common transactions, common updations, or common insertion process using Hibernate, and when you request for the same transaction again, with the help of the first level cache, by default first level cache is enabled in Hibernate. So with the help of first level cache, the transaction is more quicker. When you request for the same transaction, with the help of cache, you can execute the query a little bit faster. So like said, Hibernate framework is built with the first level and second level cache, so that the performance is high. So it handles, the last thing is handles complex queries. If you compare with the experienced program or SQL writers, like 5 years or 6 years experience of SQL writers, even those people have problems. Even I too have problems writing join queries. So when it comes to Hibernate, Hibernate takes care or Hibernate takes care of writing complex join queries very simple and easy. So this is also going to be a crazy thing, how it's possible that Hibernate takes care of the join queries so easily. So that will be discussed in the future videos, the later videos. So this is a basic introduction why we try to replace the Hibernate framework with the JDBC. In the next video we will learn how to set environment of Hibernate in our Eclipse IDE, so that we can create our first Hibernate project. So thank you guys. If you like the video, please do like and subscribe it. Don't forget to share the video. So thank you guys. Thank you very much.